Been cool to kind of see her come up so quickly. I remember when I first started with my coach Mark Eala is the match that I was looking at, and there was people like wrapped around the stadium just
That specific match completely captured my undivided attention from the very first serve. The massive crowd of eager fans was literally wrapping all the way around the massive stadium. Barely 48 hours ago, Jessica Pegula triumphantly hoisted the prestigious Dubai Championship trophy. She secured a dominant 6-2, 6-4 victory over Svitolina, marking a massive milestone. This incredible achievement was her very first major victory since the 2024 Canadian Open. It became her fourth WTA 1000 crown overall, cementing her legendary elite status. Furthermore, she is the first American woman to conquer Dubai since Venus Williams back in 2014. Right now, this triumph is undoubtedly the biggest trending story in professional tennis. Meanwhile, rumors of a massive $200 million sponsorship deal are constantly circling around Alex Eala. However, independent investigators successfully buried that completely fake contract just 2 weeks ago. Eala herself never once mentioned this supposed mega deal, and absolutely no corporate brand has ever confirmed it. Despite lacking any real proof, the rumor easily pulled in 100,000 likes. That massive engagement happened before the dedicated fact-checkers could even publish their response. Welcome to the incredibly chaotic and fast-paced modern digital world we all currently live in. There is a glaring double standard here that should genuinely bother every single dedicated tennis fan listening. Jessica Pegula has a massive real portfolio featuring heavyweights like Adidas and KPMG. Her corporate lineup also includes premium brands like Blue Air, Dyson, and Gorjana, making it unbelievably stacked. Yet, her incredibly lucrative business empire remains entirely invisible in our daily online conversations. If you falsely assume that Pegula does not actively notice this media blackout, you are entirely mistaken. Being constantly overlooked by the mainstream press is exactly the kind of fuel that creates true champions. While others might break down under that immense pressure, she remains completely focused and entirely unbothered. Meanwhile, Eala has had an actual spectacular rise from rank 140 to 40 overall. Achieving that incredible career-high ranking in just 12 months is nothing short of phenomenal. Becoming the first Filipino ever to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal is a legendary sports story. Sadly, her incredibly inspiring real-life achievements just keep getting completely buried underneath fabricated online fiction. Imagine the absolute frustration of winning a massive professional tennis tournament on the global stage. It must be infuriating to watch all the major headlines completely ignore your hard work to chase a baseless rumor. Honestly speaking, dedicating your entire life to a demanding sport only to be overshadowed is deeply unfair. Unfortunately, that incredibly frustrating and wildly unfair scenario is exactly what unfolded in the sports world just this past week. Therefore, we really need to sit down and discuss who is actually winning. We need to evaluate this ongoing sponsorship war and understand why the real answer is nothing like the internet claims. Let us carefully break down the actual reality regarding these massive corporate sponsorships right now. The ongoing financial conversation surrounding these two spectacular tennis players is not just wildly lopsided and biased. The global media coverage is literally operating in two completely separate, entirely different parallel universes. Let us properly start by looking at Jessica Pegula and evaluating her completely independent commercial market value. Please ignore her family having billions of dollars, because that is a terribly lazy and exhausted narrative. We need to strictly focus on the incredibly lucrative empire she has personally built using her own name and spectacular results. KPMG officially jumped on board back in January 2025. That prominent American audit and advisory firm proudly slapped their corporate logo directly onto her professional racket bag. You really need to pause and think about how historic their very first move into women's tennis truly was. Consider what that massive corporate endorsement actually signifies for her overall long-term brand power and marketability. A financial powerhouse of that colossal size absolutely does not sign professional athletes just for fun. They strictly invest millions of dollars to acquire rock-solid commercial credibility and global prestige. Following that success, Blue Air officially announced her as their global air wellness ambassador in January 2026. Before anybody cracks a quick sarcastic joke about promoting simple air purifiers, you really should listen to Pegula herself. She perfectly articulated her own highly intelligent perspective on the partnership in a brilliant manner. She wisely stated that while you absolutely cannot control the chaotic conditions of a match, you have total power over your recovery. That powerful statement was certainly not just some randomly generated public relations quote. That is the absolute reality of an elite professional woman who tirelessly travels 11 months out of every single year. She literally carries a portable purifier into every single hotel room to guarantee optimal athletic performance. She managed to brilliantly transform her strict personal recovery routine into a highly lucrative and fully verified global brand deal. Add heavyweights like Adidas, Yonex, Dyson, Gorgiana, Stella Artois, and the world of Hyatt to the mix. You suddenly have a massive corporate portfolio that most top 10 ranked professional players would genuinely and deeply envy. Her impressive business roster is quietly stacked with premium brands, yet it is barely discussed by the mainstream media. We need to completely flip the perspective right now and look at the chaotic alternative reality. The hyperactive internet absolutely despises quiet, stable, and incredibly successful business stories because they are supposedly boring. The rabid online audience desperately wants to read about wild $200 million contracts that do not actually exist. The algorithm strictly demands that legendary figures like Sheikh Mansour and Roger Federer are somehow dramatically involved. Actual corporate brands are now being desperately forced to pay close attention to this viral phenomenon. This wild situation directly raises an incredibly important question that absolutely nobody has answered just yet, until investigators at Rappler stepped in. The dedicated investigative team at The Nerve officially uncovered the shocking truth back in late 2025. They found at least 5 dedicated tennis Facebook pages, including Tennis Together and Top Spin, operating together. Groups like Central, Tennis Triumph, and Tennis Today were all part of this massive digital squad. They were systematically manufacturing completely fake content surrounding Alex Eala on a daily basis. These massive campaigns were absolutely not born out of any genuine love for the sport or the athlete herself. They were strictly built to generate massive advertising revenue by frequently posting artificially generated images. They showed Eala supposedly signing a massive $1 billion corporate check right at a press conference. These fake pictures featured hilariously distorted fingers and terribly misspelled brand names across the board. All of these glaring visual errors happened simply because artificial intelligence still cannot properly count to 5. They would ruthlessly funnel all that viral outrage traffic directly to sketchy external websites loaded with over 20 advertisements per page. The malicious operators would greedily pocket anywhere from a few thousand to well over 2 million pesos every single month. Their massive financial payouts depended entirely on exactly how viral their completely fabricated posts eventually became. The legendary $200 million story, the massive Wilson deal, and the Sheikh Mansour contract were all total lies. The supposed Roger Federer ecosystem was absolutely not just innocent fan fiction created by passionate supporters. It was actually a highly calculated advertising operation functioning exactly like a ruthless digital content factory. Unfortunately, Eala herself became the entirely unwilling and helpless product of this massive disinformation machine. She even bravely spoke out loud about this severe issue in January 2026. Her powerful statement came directly following her tough quarterfinal exit at the Philippine Women's Open tournament. She publicly stated that the massive situation is deeply concerning because those fake posts naturally gather thousands of likes. She fully understands how incredibly difficult it is for average fans to tell the stark difference online. When you casually scroll through your social media feeds, the fabricated news looks dangerously real. That is a 20-year-old elite athlete, officially ranked number 47 in the world, having to play damage control. She is actively climbing the professional rankings while being forced to publicly manage a massive disinformation machine. She never once asked for this wild online circus. A chaotic situation her father, Mike Eala, explained perfectly. He firmly stated that their family actively chooses to focus all their energy strictly on positive developments. They only care about tangible things that can actually help her reach her ultimate championship goals. That is honestly the most remarkably composed and graceful response anyone could possibly deliver in this situation. Complete strangers on the internet are literally inventing billion-dollar commercial contracts out of thin air. They are maliciously acting on his daughter's behalf by utilizing artificially generated bank checks for clout. And yet, this specific angle is precisely the part that keeps this entire ongoing conversation incredibly fascinating. The massive fake news machine is accidentally broadcasting a powerful truth that the real statistics completely confirm. Her genuine rise through the professional ranks is exactly the kind of authentic story that demands respect. Her actual athletic journey absolutely should be effortlessly attracting massive corporate sponsor attention right now. She officially kicked off the 2026 professional season, sitting quietly at rank number 50. By February 2nd, she successfully battled her way up to number 45, marking a spectacular new career high. Fast forward to February 9th, and she reached number 40, becoming a true national sports icon. She is officially the highest-ranked Filipino player in the entire documented history of the Women's Tennis Association. Furthermore, she just delivered an absolutely legendary quarterfinal run in Dubai this very week. She spectacularly defeated world number 8 Jasmine Paolini and number 32 Sorana Cirstea in thrilling fashion. She is currently projected to land right at number 32 when the newly updated rankings officially drop. Achieving all of that incredible professional success in strictly under 8 weeks is mind-blowing. That is absolutely not just a typical rising star. That is a verifiable rocket ship launching into orbit. Authentic, premium corporate brands are definitely watching her spectacular matches incredibly closely right now. They simply have not formally announced anything public yet, which is exactly how serious business operates. Real corporate deals actually work quietly and strictly legally behind heavily guarded boardroom doors. They involve elite lawyers signing ironclad contracts, absolutely not fake press releases posted on random Facebook pages. Therefore, we urgently need to bring this entire conversation right back around to Jessica Pegula. This is precisely where her legendary championship title truly earns its massive commercial weight as she turns 32 this week. She is celebrating her birthday right after decisively winning the incredibly prestigious Dubai tournament. She currently boasts an unbelievable 13 wins and only 2 losses in the 2026 season. She actively chairs the Player Council, literally redesigning the entire future landscape of the women's professional tennis calendar. She proudly captured her very first Elite 1000 level title since the 2024 Canadian Open. Through all that grueling travel, she consistently carried her trusted Blue Air purifier into every single hotel room. She successfully launched her very own premium skincare line and partnered directly with Gorjana Jewelry. She personally co-designed 2 exclusive collections, one of which generously donates all its proceeds directly to rescue dogs. She securely locked down KPMG, a massive global firm with incredibly strict standards. They refuse to put their corporate logo on a player's racket bag unless the financial due diligence is absolutely airtight. Her spectacular corporate roster proudly features absolute powerhouses like Dyson and the massive World of Hyatt. By every single measurable standard, she is currently one of the absolute most commercially stable professional athletes. She also carries incredible intellectual credibility right now inside the entire women's tennis circuit. Yet the digital algorithm unfairly treats her like a mere supporting character trapped inside someone else's viral story. Now, is that genuinely fair to a phenomenal athlete who just won a massive international tournament? No. It absolutely is not fair, and we have already passionately stated that obvious fact out loud. However, here is the deeply uncomfortable truth that both dedicated fan bases urgently need to sit down and accept. The fundamental reason Jessica Pegula does not constantly break the internet is exactly why her portfolio is rock solid. She is absolutely not some wild, unsubstantiated rumor circulating on shady social media platforms. She is absolutely not a hopeful projection, nor is she pure potential wrapped up tightly inside a completely fake bank check. She is a thoroughly verified, heavily documented, official press-released, rigorously fact-checked reality. Unfortunately, living in the highly chaotic reality of 2026 on social media simply does not always win the algorithm. Instead, loud, obnoxious drama always does, and entirely fabricated fiction always naturally goes incredibly viral. A massive $1.6 billion United Arab Emirates corporate contract from a mysterious sheikh easily dominates timelines. Specifically, a royal figure who is absolutely nowhere genuinely near a professional tennis court wins the digital engagement war. That massive disparity is the very real gap we are currently talking about, not just raw talent or basic marketability. It is not even about their respective official professional rankings, but simply the stark gap between Pegula's coverage and Eala's noise. The viral noise strictly represents a massive, unfortunate gap between what is undeniably real and what is cheaply clickable. And incredibly unfortunately for Pegula, being a genuinely real and authentic champion simply does not always trend online. But hold on tightly, because here is the unbelievable twist ending that literally nobody saw coming down the pipeline. The legendary Indian Wells tennis tournament officially kicks off its massive main draw action on March 4th. Both of these spectacular professional tennis players are officially cemented inside the very same highly competitive draw. Pegula is entering absolutely red hot, carrying massive momentum straight off her glorious Dubai Championship title. She proudly brings an incredibly dominant 13-win and 2-loss professional season record directly into the California desert. Meanwhile, Alex Eala is currently projected to be sitting somewhere safely around world number 32. Eala is coming in fresh off an incredible pair of back-to-back WTA 1000 quarterfinal appearances. She delivered legendary performances in both Abu Dhabi and Dubai, backed by a massive international fan base. Her passionate supporters literally travel internationally just to pack the main center court to the absolute brim. They aggressively chant her name so unbelievably loud that superstar Coco Gauff even hilariously joked about the insane atmosphere. Gauff laughingly admitted she started actively pretending the massive crowd was chanting her own name just to maintain intense focus. These two incredibly talented and highly debated professional athletes could absolutely meet again very soon. And if they actually do clash, if Pegula and Eala miraculously land on the exact same side of the bracket at Indian Wells, absolute magic will happen. The massive, fabricated sponsorship war that the crazy internet completely invented using entirely fake numbers might suddenly erupt. It might finally, forcefully produce a very real, incredibly dramatic moment that neither side will be able to look away from. On one side stands a legendary champion with a meticulously verified corporate portfolio that absolutely nobody ever talks about. On the exact opposite side stands a rising superstar surrounded by a completely viral online mythology. It is a wildly chaotic digital narrative that absolutely nobody can seemingly fact-check fast enough to stop the spread. They will clash at the exact same prestigious tournament, battling hard on the very same blistering California hard court. And mark my words, this time around, there will be absolutely no controversial wildcards heavily involved in this explosive matchup. Alex Eala completely earned her rightful place straight into this prestigious main draw, entirely on her own pure professional ranking. Whatever crazy drama actually happens down at Indian Wells, one crucial thing is already definitively settled in stone. The legendary $200 million corporate megadeal is 100% pure internet fiction. The highly viral fake sheikh contract is fiction, and the massive Wilson millions are absolutely nothing but fiction. However, the intense competitive rivalry, the underlying dramatic tension regarding who actually gets the rightful credit, is real. The fierce battle surrounding who ultimately wins the prestigious championship trophies is incredibly palpable. The deep contrast between who artificially trends on social media and who actually triumphs in reality is fascinating. That specific part of this massive sports narrative is 100% real, and it is honestly only just getting started. So please drop your honest opinions down in the comments. And tell me exactly what happens if Pegula and Eala violently clash at Indian Wells. If Pegula dominates and wins again, does the entire internet finally aggressively give her the massive respect she genuinely deserves?